Right runners, it's finally springtime here in the UK, so you might want to start to adapt what you're wearing when you're out on the run. So I've gathered a few of my favourite things that I like to run with during spring running season, in the hopes that you might find a new favourite or perhaps give something a go and get your running to the next level throughout spring. Now we're going to start with some of the basics. So I'm going to start with just running attire. So what would you wear when you go out running? And for me, during springtime, I kind of get rid of some of those layers. So I might have had a base layer on throughout winter. And now I'm kind of like, let's wear those t-shirts without anything underneath. So I usually opt for a short sleeve unless it's a little bit windy. Then I might go for a long sleeve with nothing, kind of no thermals underneath. Which is quite nice during especially those mornings where it's not quite warmed up just yet. So here are a couple of examples of that. I've got just race tees really because my wardrobe is full of them and they have to get used somehow. So just little short sleeve things that are going to get worn and keep my arms a little bit cool, but also give me some warmth for when it is chilly, if that makes sense. So long sleeve versions also just without anything underneath for those mornings, like I just said. But yeah, not much to go wrong there. I do usually wear like a tech tee, so they're slightly different material than normal kind of cotton tee, just because they do kind of, well, in a way, they kind of dry quicker, which means that if you're running and you're getting a bit sweaty, they're likely to dry and you're not going to cool down as quickly whilst you're on the run, which is really nice, especially in springtime when that wind can just go straight through any wet patches and make you really cold again. So I do quite like these during springtime. And then to go along with that, for spring, I'm still a leggings gal. So I will still be wearing leggings probably all the way until it gets really warm. Then I might opt for shorts. So yeah, I'm still wearing leggings and I'm still reaching for my lovely Fabletics leggings. These ones are a little bit cropped, but because I'm short, they don't look cropped when I wear them, which is quite nice. So these, I believe, are the Fabletics On The Go. And I picked these up from Depop, so they're secondhand. Somebody's loved them before, and now I'm gonna wear them again because sometimes paying full price for things like this isn't what I want to do. I think if you pay full price and you're not a member, it's like £50 or more for a pair of leggings, which I don't love. But what I do love about these is that their waistband, and this, for any guys watching, you might not really understand this, but their waistband doesn't have a little piece of elastic in it. There's so many waistbands that have this tiny little bit of elastic that you can kind of like pull and make looser or tighter. And I find that if I've got them on, it really digs into my waist and I kind of end up chafing there whilst I'm running, which isn't what I want whilst I'm like really using those obliques whilst I do that run action. Whereas these, their whole compression is like the whole legging, so there's no single piece of elastic in this waistband. It's quite high-waisted as well, so it's all kind of pressing into your tummy and making it just feel really nice when I run, and that's why I love these. I also like them because they've got a pocket on either side, which means sometimes I can get away with not wearing a bag or anything. If I'm just taking my phone, it can just get shoved in the pocket. Phone and keys, sometimes that's all you need. So yeah, I like these. I've got them now in a few different colours. There is one pair that doesn't have pockets because I think it's an older version. But again, yeah, just check out things like Depop and Vinted if you want some and you don't want to pay and get them straight from Fabletics. There's obviously a more sustainable option for you and also a bit cheaper. So have a look around. You might find that these don't quite work for you. Other ones that I've worn that I quite like for springtime are some of the Sweaty Betty, what are they called? No, power holders, these ones. I don't know, they're like slightly thinner. They feel a little bit like a swimsuit when you put them on because they're quite tight and thin, and they do have that kind of elastic band that I talked about, which is one thing I hate about them now. But you might find they work for you. I've got a couple of pairs of them, and for springtime, because they're a little bit thinner, they are quite nice on those warm days, but you still want leggings on. So yeah, that's leggings for me. So Fabletics is what I'm reaching for at the moment. Just gotta build up my collection through pre-loved because I don't want to buy brand new ones just for now. And then on my feet, I'm kind of opting for something a little bit lightweight, but not too lightweight. The really lightweight ones I save for when I'm cycling on this stationary bike, because I honestly can't get my feet into my cycling clip-on shoes with slightly thicker socks. But the ones I'm kind of reaching for almost every single time right now are some that I actually got from an advent calendar last year. So I got these from the Bimble and Bolt advent calendar not this Christmas, the Christmas beforehand. And yeah, I've got them in purple and pink. And honestly, if the first and second runs of the week, these are what I'm wearing, because I use them and then I'm like, oh, I can't wear them anymore. But they're just a nice size. They're not too thick, they're not too thin. They're protectors, a little bit extra padding in the heel and kind of around the Achilles as well. One thing I have found is that these don't work too well with my Nike Pegasus shoes, because that one rides up quite high at the back. It's got a really sharp point, so that one does tend to make it slip down at the back. But for most of my running and most of my shoes, I love these just to put on during springtime and wear. So if you are looking for some socks, I would recommend these. I've had them, you know, over a year now, and they're still looking all right. There's no holes in them. There's not really much wear, so they're going to last you a long time as well if you buy these ones. So outerwear, it's spring, so it's kind of unpredictable as to how the weather's going to be, and you kind of have to check on the day whether it's going to be sunny or whether it's going to be raining. But this first one is almost definitely a must-do for me. Might not be for you, it's probably very particular, and that is my trusty little buff. So I've got mine folded up into quarters here, and it just goes around my ears, because springtime is still windy and I'm still kind of getting that wind through my ears, and they are still coming out with a lovely sort of rash. And so yeah, this will stay on until it gets really warm and I can do without it. But for now, protecting my ears, you might not need anything similar. This is honestly just a me thing, I think. I don't want red puffy ears whilst I'm trying to sleep because it hurts. So yeah, this is just protection from the elements for me, and until the wind dies down, you're going to see me running in these a lot more. I think I'm kind of getting to the point where I feel like I need more of these because I'm running out of them. So that brings me on to something that you might not have thought of, and that is a little hat. So my one here doesn't have a top, because when I'm running, my hair is up in a lovely little ponytail, and if I'm wearing a normal hat with a normal roof over the top, I can't put my hair like that. I have to kind of put my hair lower, and my hair is so thick that it just kind of like, it drops a little bit. So I prefer having my hair a little bit higher when I'm running, or in every day really, because it doesn't drop so much. And this is kind of one of the only hats I've got that will allow me to do that. So if it's sunny, it's nice because it's got a lovely peak to shield your face from the lovely sunshine. But then also, what actually this gets used most for in the UK is the rain. So you have it on and the rain can't get to your eyes, so you're not constantly being like, can't see. It's a little bit nicer, you know. The rain, the only time it doesn't quite work is when the rain is like literally going horizontal. And again, kind of a UK thing, we do get that quite often. So we got the wind and the rain, and it doesn't quite work for that. But for wind that's just gentle, it's quite nice. And for rain and sunshine, I would use this. So this will definitely be a staple of spring running when I'm out there. Unless it's just like a mild, normal day, then probably won't need it if it's not too sunny. But yeah, you'll likely see this one a lot. And then to go along with that unpredictable weather situation, you might want to get yourself a nice little waterproof. So this is quite a lightweight waterproof. I don't love it because it doesn't quite fit me and it's not quite waterproof. But as an extra thin little layer that's going to protect a little bit from the rain is quite nice, because when you're running, rain can be nice, but it can also get you cold really, really quickly. And I'm one of those people that really does get cold quite quickly. Like, I'm still cold indoors, so yeah. Like, you know, I want a jumper on, I want all of this stuff on, I want to be warm and cozy. And if I'm running and I get wet, I'm gonna stay wet and cold for a while. So having something that's nice and thin that can either be scrunched up and put in like a little backpack, which I'll get to, is nice. Honestly, this is a little bit bulky. There are a lot more lightweight ones that you can get, but again, using what we've got, because that's the only way we're going to be able to save money and keep running. If you don't have a lightweight jacket, now might be the time to invest in one whilst we've got the unpredictable weather. And then also, when it comes to autumn and winter, you'll have it ready to go. All right, so optional extras that I just think that make spring running a little bit more fun are kind of to do with your longer runs. So I've got 3 or 4 items, depending how you count them, items that I think would make your kind of long runs for the spring a little bit nicer and a little bit more fun. So the first one of those is some lovely trail shoes. So the verdict kind of still out as to whether I like these or not, this specific one. So don't just pick up this pair because it's the pair I've got. I'm still on the fence as to whether I like them. But these are the Saucony Peregrine. I've got obviously 2 of them, and they're good for like running on gravel and mud because they've got a little bit extra grip on the underneath. So when it's really muddy, it kind of sticks into the mud and helps you stay upright that little bit longer. Whereas you'll find road shoes a little bit flatter, so it's harder to get that kind of traction in any mud or uphills. And the beauty of having a pair of trail shoes in the spring is that you can go out trail running and hopefully it's not that muddy. So it's kind of dry mud, hopefully as long as you get the right time. And you can go trail running and you won't have to clean your shoes after. Like, isn't that the dream? Trail running without having to clean up after. Like, who wouldn't want that? So that's why I like trail running in spring, because it's a little bit cooler, but it is still nice. You know, you're kind of looking at all these, like, everything's blossoming in spring, isn't it? So it's quite nice to have that feeling where it does actually genuinely look a little bit different every time you go. If you do it during the winter, all you're looking at is kind of like, you know, bare trees and no flowers. Whereas in springtime, it might be like, oh, the daffodils are out, oh, the bluebells are out. It's kind of like that little bit of extra interest in your run if you need it, which is lovely. And also, when you're out trail running, you don't care about your pace. You're just happy to be out, looking at the views and the scenery. So that would be one of my recommendations, is some trail shoes for some trail running. Obviously, trail running might not be for you, so perhaps give an easy trail a go in your road shoes and see if you enjoy it. So anywhere that's kind of flat but a little bit off-roady, that would be a good trial start, just to see if you do quite like it. It is a lot of ankle work, so whilst you're not going at your regular paces, you are still getting in the strength in your ankles. That will really help, because trail isn't flat. I mean, just like the pavements in the UK, but having to negotiate all of that stone and that footwork with your ankle really helps strengthen it. So you will be a better runner for trail running as well. And then if you're out trail running, you might want to bring some snacks and some water and some food and some extra layers, all of that kind of jazz whilst you're out running. And I'm still using this. It's just a 5-litre bag and it's got loads of pockets, which is what I quite like. So it's got a pocket at the front, a little pockets at the front, some pockets at the side, a big one at the back. So this is generally where that coat would go. I'll roll it up and put it through this little back pocket. It's got a big one at the back as well, down here. And that is generally where I put the next item. So that is a hydration flask for water. And then again, it's got the side pocket and the front pockets on this side. And it also has a zip. I've got 2 versions of this. One version, the zip has sadly broken, but this version, it's still working. And I mean, it's doing the job. So if you've got keys or anything that you definitely don't want to lose, put them in that zip pocket. Obviously it can't be too big because it's quite a small little compartment there, but you can get stuff in there if you need it. So that's great. The one thing I have done is I have added some lovely little, you can't really see them because they're black, some zip ties. So these are just, well, they're just cable tidies for household cables. And I kind of Velcro them together, and it takes me a while to work out which way it's actually supposed to be going. And then I thread through my little water bladder kind of straw through it. So if I get that out now, you'll understand. So this is in the back pouch of the jacket like this, and then you feed this lovely pipe all the way over your shoulder, then you do up there's a little buckle there that you do up, and then I feed it through one zip tie at the bottom here, and then one at the top, so that when I'm running, it's not boop, 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 or hitting my sides and wiggly wobbling. It's just a really nice way to tuck it up and around. Sometimes it does come undone if I've not done it right like that. So like I said, it does take me a while to remember how to do it properly. But once it's up there, it's really nice. It's so easy to take a drink. It just stays there whilst I'm running. So I'd recommend that. I have started running with this because I hate running with water bottles. So you can get kind of small water flasks that kind of go in the front pouches of the bags if you've got one, or you can just hold them, and they used to be this toy where basically just a bag of plastic with like watery stuff in it and little like fish, and you kind of just, you know, did that with your hands and it fell through your hands. But they're a bit like that, and when they're on you they just kind of flop, 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 flop. That's what I find, and I hate it. So I have been using this, and just because it's on your back, it does still bob around, but it's a little bit nicer to manage, I find. So I've been using this, and I've been filling it with some of these. So this is dextrose glucose, which is effectively just sugar. I mean, I'm not going to coat it in anything fancy. It is just pretty much sugar. So I shove this in with my water. I think it's usually about 2 scoops or something like that. I've got the unflavoured one because I then put in like some squash or some little flavour drops just to make it taste a bit different, because if not it is kind of just like sweet water. And this is just an alternative to gels, because I'm still finding that I haven't really found a gel that I quite like. So as long as I'm drinking this along my run, I'm feeling hydrated and I'm getting in some of those extra calories and just being able to have that energy to go for longer runs. So I think one serving of this is about 200 calories. I was using Tailwind, which is really similar, and that kind of has the flavouring in with it, and again it's basically just sugar, but this is slightly a cheaper option, and I've not had any complaints so far. I think I'm halfway through this bag, so it's doing well, So we'll see if I repurchase it once it's finished, but I won't until it's near the end. So that is all my lovely running products that I'm kind of using in spring running. There'll probably be more that I've forgotten about, but for now that is definitely my go-tos. They are quite similar to my running throughout the rest of the year. I just might put on more layers. I might just put on more layers throughout winter and autumn. But yeah, this is generally just normal running gear. There's nothing too fancy. I mean, if you're doing like a marathon training or ultra training, you might want like anti-chafing stuff and things like that. But for general running throughout spring, this is what I use. And again, kind of going back to that reasoning as to like running doesn't need to be expensive, because you can basically use the same thing. Like, yes, you might need to update your shoes every so often if they kind of get compressed a bit too much to save injury, but apart from that, once you've kind of got it, unless it breaks, you don't need to replace it. Like those run tees I've had for years. I think the Bristol one is 2022 or something. I think the Bath half is 2020, so that's 4 years where I've just had a top, and honestly those tops were free because I did the race. So you do kind of build up this wardrobe of things that you can use and you can take from. So yeah, don't feel too overwhelmed with things that you think you might need for spring running. You've probably already got it in your cupboard. So yeah, that's just my advice. Go and have a look, see what you've got, and if you're kind of lacking in one area, maybe that is the thing that you should get. But don't think you need to overhaul everything and throw everything away. You know, it might just be that you need to just stop layering. I mean, you know, stop going out with 3 layers on. Like, what are you doing? Take it a little bit calmer. Maybe think, right, can I get away with a t-shirt, and try it. You won't know until you've tried it. So yeah, happy running, everyone.